Good morning and welcome to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known. We are jamming African style this morning. It's the Trace Awards that are coming up this weekend. We're going to tell you about that. The Speaker of the House, Power 96 is in the lead right now for Speaker of the House. He might as well be. Jim Jordan is falling short. And some more information trickling in this morning, suggesting that this might take 15 rounds like it did in January. We'll talk about that. In Amherst, Massachusetts, I almost went to Amherst College in Massachusetts. Well, they're speeding up reparations for Black residents in that town of about 49,000 people. We'll talk about that. Howard University and Tennessee State are two HBCUs who've made Billboard list of top music business schools. That's pretty cool. And a $1.4 million speeding ticket. Yeah, it happened in Georgia, and we're going to tell you about that. Also this morning, Dr. Chavis joins us with African music and businessman Samo to discuss the new Trace Awards that debuts later this week and features an array of artists, including Burna Boy. We will discuss that. But first, I need some help. I need a little help. I've been in love with Lauryn Hill forever, right? And The Miseducation is certainly one of the best albums in the history of music. She's on tour with the Fugees and 25th anniversary of The Miseducation. I've been seeing conflicting reports, folks who've been there. Oh, she's 2.5 hours late. Others, she's on time. Those who say she's on time, of course, they're on what they consider CP time, I'm sure. Do I go and sit? Now, there's no opening act. Do I go and sit for a couple of hours and wait for her? Take the risk. Like if they say the show starts at 8, maybe get there closer to 10, right? Or what? In the past, there were even gigs she didn't even show up for. So I need some help. Somebody tell me, what should I do before she comes to my area, which is only in a couple of weeks? So I need to know what Lauryn Hill, educate. Don't miseducate me on this one. Educate me. I want to know. Lauryn Hill, one of my original baby mamas. Miss Hill is the queen of CP time, Power 96 says. All right. I have to figure that one out on my own is what you're telling me, Power 96. Well, we'll see. But, the hits from that album, Miseducation, unquestionably, I don't care what anybody says. You have to put it in the category of, some people say it was rap. It's not rap. She sang too. Some people put it in the category of R&B. It's not R&B. It's everything. This is one simply. I don't care whose album you put up against. It is one of the greatest albums ever in the history of music. David Youngblood says, let's just hope she is well. Michelle Madison says, what time is the show again? Michelle, listen. This is Lauryn Hill we're talking about. Miss Lauryn Hill. Let's get that straight. Miss Lauryn Hill. Like Mr. T, it's Miss Lauryn Hill. Respect. We'll figure it out. I'll let you know if I take the plunge and go see Miss Lauryn Hill. And I'll tell you all about it if I do. I'm still up in the air. We'll see. Now let's get down to business here this morning. Jim Jordan, the Ohio Republican known for his prominent role in trying to overturn the 2020 election, and still, as of this moment, refused to concede that Donald Trump lost to Joe Biden. Well, is he going to concede? He fell short of the necessary votes on Tuesday, and I'm glad she showed a picture of that Elise Stefanik is her name, that representative, just before you see in this Democrat here. that Republican Stefanik had the audacity to bring up in her praise of Jim Jordan. She talks about him, the wrestling and being, going to the mat with him and wrestling. Huh? Even the Republicans in the chamber, if you were watching or were there, they gasped. The Democrats booed. I mean, how in the world can she bring that up? This guy, the wrestlers there that were sexually assaulted at Ohio State are all saying that Jim Jordan was one of the officials there who did nothing. He worked at the school at the time, did nothing. Another thing about Jim Jordan is he has not, in all his years as a legislator, he's not crafted one piece of legislation. He reminds me of somebody I know. All he does is block and obstruct. I mean, it's and now he's going to be speaker. Actually, Hakeem Jeffries got the most votes again, but of course, it's just 212 Democrats in the chamber, and he would need 5 Republicans to jump ship and side with or vote for him. Several others got votes, and as of this morning, there is talk that while there are a couple of no votes who are going to change to yes for Jim Jordan, there's at least a handful, if not more, who voted for him yesterday that are going to change their vote. So this speakership situation is going to apparently, anyway, as of this morning, apparently is going to go on for some time, and it's up to the chamber, it's up to both sides to say, well, really up to the Republicans to say, hey, you know what? Let's just appoint this guy here as the intern while we sort this out. Or maybe here's a novel idea: work across the aisle. David Youngblood says that Jordan will not become speaker. He's a joke. But it seems too, though, David, that the MAGA wing continues to have their way with that party. So we'll see. We know he's a Trump has endorsed him. Power 96. It's interesting. He's asking, do they allow their black members to speak? And I did not hear from was it Byron Donalds? He was he was quoted in news articles. He was on, I think, Fox News or something as well. But no, he was not speaking in the chamber. And David says that the others in the party are sick of the chaos caucus. Well, it might be true, but here's the thing: what are you going to do about it? They have some serious issues to tackle here with the situation in Israel. And in fact, the president arrived this morning in Israel. They have the Ukrainian situation going on, of course. And then here at home, once again, we are less than 1 month away now from a potential government shutdown. They need to get their literal house in order, as people's livelihoods are at stake. So we'll see what happens today. They're expected to vote again. I believe they'll reconvene at 11 o'clock, I think the time is, in the House. So we will be closely watching what happens on Capitol Hill today. Will Jim Jordan be able to overcome all of the no votes? You need 217. There are 221 Republicans in the chamber, 212 Democrats, and winner needs 217 of those votes. So we'll see. David Youngblood says Tom Cole will be the consensus candidate. We will see. But here's the opportune time again to work across the aisle, to make a deal. Cut a deal. Cut a deal. Power 96 says play with my checks and the universe will shut down. It's an opportunity to really cut a bipartisan deal. Mike V said not passing any meaningful bills or governing and get paid for it What a perfect job. And that's how a lot of people are seeing this. It's like you're finally seeing the light here. These folks, they're gonna get paid regardless. And they're gonna have health insurance that they don't have to pay for regardless. Their pensions are gonna continue to swell regardless. Everything is regardless with them. So yeah, it's interesting how it works. All right, so moving on to Amherst, Massachusetts. Officials there are contemplating accelerating their groundbreaking reparations initiative located in the so-called Pioneer Valley of Western Massachusetts. Amherst has established one of the nation's first reparation funds for Black residents 2 years ago, and town officials are now deliberating options to expedite the allocation of the $2 million endowment that was agreed upon. The town council there in Amherst sought to address historical injustices, they said, that resulted from slavery and discrimination. They made this vow in 2020, of course, as a response to the widespread protests following the death of George Floyd. Officials there said that the fund's inception marked a significant stride towards reconciliation and equity. The proposed funding plan, equivalent to the annual tax revenue generated from cannabis sales, currently stands at an estimated $200,000 annually. Now, let's stop there, folks. Because don't you see some irony there that they're using cannabis funds for reparations? I found that some irony there too. How many How many black folks were put away, especially in the 80s and 90s, for marijuana? And so they're going to use the sales of cannabis to fund this reparations for black residents of Amherst, Massachusetts. So now what they want to do, the original strategy had entailed a decade-long effort to grow the fund before dispersing up to $100,000 a year in the town, where the black population is about 6%. The town manager appointed this task force, and now they favor a potentially shorter timeline. One of the propositions suggests that they should allocate $100,000 from cannabis tax revenue, and the other option is $200,000. Because the ultimate goal is to achieve $2 million. And Mike V says, and he makes a lot of sense. He says that they have to use cannabis sales because it's not federally legal to hold in banks. Really, really interesting. So, California and cities like Providence, Rhode Island, religious denominations, including the Episcopal Church and colleges such as Georgetown University, and advocates in Amherst have pointed to like Evanston, Illinois. They have a program that utilizes tax revenues from marijuana sales, in which they started earlier this year, if you recall, giving $25,000 housing grants to Black residents there in Evanston, Illinois, which is not far from Chicago, of course. San Francisco wants a program in which they're trying to enact, which can see Black residents there getting as much as $5 million for reparations. Of course, in California, the state itself task force has recommended major reparations payments in various forms. The state still has to decide. The state legislature still has to decide how they will do that, if they will do that. And yes, Georgetown was one of those universities, and the Episcopal Church was one of those religious institutions that have been found extremely culpable in the transatlantic slave trade. So, some interesting news, music-wise. Howard University, the renowned historical Black college in Northwest Washington, D.C., finds itself an esteemed company alongside institutions such as the Abbey Road Institute in London, the Berklee College of Music in Boston and Spain, and the Liverpool Institute for the Performing Arts in Liverpool, England. These universities or colleges have earned a spot on Billboard's prestigious list of best schools for music business degrees. Billboard's selection process doesn't rank the institutions one, two, three, four, five, but it's based on a comprehensive evaluation that includes executive recommendations, alumni feedback, information furnished by each school, and a decade's worth of reporting on music business programs. Publishers at Billboard said the decision not to rank the schools stems from Billboard's acknowledgement of widespread criticism surrounding conventional college ranking practices. Tennessee State University is the other HBCU that made the list. They noted as far as Howard's remarkable achievement is underpinned by the establishment of the Warner Music Center for Music Business in 2021, which made possible by a $5 million, which was made possible by a $5 million donation. Billboard highlights the center's one-year fellowship program, which offers invaluable coaching, mentorship, and real-world industry exposure through collaborations with partner organizations. And that program at Howard is designed specifically to combat the underrepresentation of Black executives and professionals within the music and entertainment sectors. According to Billboard, one of Howard's standout offerings is the course, quote, "The History of the American Music. What Isn't Black Music?" That's a unique perspective which aims to give students a comprehensive understanding of the industry's roots and evolution. So it's really, really big news for Howard, big news for Tennessee State University. The publisher said that the schools are selected through their executive recommendations and various things that they really take into consideration. Power 96 news he could use. Yeah, it's really interesting. Wouldn't expect these HBCUs to be included, particularly given the history of Billboard and specifically more recent history of stuff that we've heard from these magazines and how they view African Americans. But Howard University and Tennessee State are on that list of some of the best schools for music business degrees. So congratulations to those two HBCUs and to others on the list. Congratulations. Good job. So for all you speeders out there, what's the highest speeding ticket you've ever got? Really interesting, right? Well, how about this Georgia guy? He got the shock of his life when he received a $1.4 million speeding ticket in the mail. Fortunately, though, the figure was just a placeholder. Connor Cato out in Georgia in Savannah said that the state police pulled him over for driving 90 miles per hour in a 55 mile per hour zone. Though he was expecting to get a so-called super speeder ticket. They give out these tickets when you so far over the speed limit. They call them super speeders. He said he never in his wildest dreams would imagine that he would get a speeding ticket for over $1 million. When he called the court thinking the figure was a typo, he was told that he should either pay the fine or appear in court in December. Naturally, he's going to court in December. He said 1.4 million, the lady on the phone told me. I said, this might be a typo. And she said, no, sir. You either pay the amount on the ticket or you come to court on December 21st at 1:30 p.m. So it turns out that's how they get folks to court. So the city government said that the fine is just a placeholder. A speeding ticket can only be set by a judge in a court appearance and cannot exceed $1,000 plus state mandated cost, according to officials there in Savannah. But he still has to appear in court. If he doesn't, he's considered a super speeder. Now, here's the rub. If he doesn't appear in court, then the $1.4 million fine stands. But if he goes to court, he's looking at something in the neighborhood of $1,000. So naturally, he will get in court. They use this e-citation software, and it automatically puts in $999,999 as the base amount plus state mandated costs, which ended in Cato's case of coming up to $1.4 million. Now, they said the court will adjust the placeholder language to avoid any future confusion. Imagine that. Opening up that mail. You know you got a speeding ticket. You know it's a speeding ticket. You open it up, and it says the amount of fine, $1.4 million. I mean, all types of thoughts was probably going through this guy's head. $1 million, almost $1.5 million for a speeding ticket. Michelle Madison says, I got stopped for driving too slow. She got stopped. You got stopped for driving too slow, Michelle? She says, oh, well, she says she was checking her son's homework. No excuse. I just got a warning because I cried, though. I think I'd cry if I got pulled over for driving too slow. But Michelle, checking your son's homework while driving, that's a new one. People, they're drinking coffee while driving, they're on their phone while driving, which they shouldn't be. Texting while driving, it definitely shouldn't be. But here's Michelle checking her son's homework while driving. You deserve a ticket for that, Michelle. And your son deserves a free day of no homework for that. I think so. But she got a warning. The cop was nice. She probably told, well, my son, I got to check his homework. We, as parents, he probably said, good job as a parent checking that homework. But just don't do it while we're driving. Well, folks, the Trace Music is a Pan-African digital music platform, and it has released the nominee list for its first music awards on the continent. I'm all off this morning, which is scheduled to take place in Rwanda on October 21st, in a couple of days, actually. As Bobby Henry chimes in that he agrees, Michelle, you deserve that ticket. Well, 26 awards are up for grabs, with the nominations featuring platinum selling artists from more than 30 countries in Africa, South America, the Caribbean, the Indian Ocean, and Europe. In the Best African Male Artist category, Nigeria has strong representation from Burna Boy, Davido, and others. Now, our conversation with African and global media, entertainment, and music expert Samo and the president and CEO of the NMPA, Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis Jr.
I want to thank our dear brother for coming on behalf of the National Newspaper Publishers Association to let it be known, and certainly we want to spread the word about the Trace Awards. I want to thank Chairman Emeritus Clovis Campbell for making the introduction and encouraging us to do this program.
Well, as we see, we have the man called Samo, in the global media and entertainment sphere, currently serving as the business development director at Trace, a Trace Music, a pan-digital music platform. Oh, we got some technical issues there, folks. Bringing you that interview with Samo and Dr. Chavis. And see, never mind. Never mind. I was gonna say something, but Greer knows what I was gonna say, and I'll just keep it to myself because it's quite on the on the embarrassing side. Well, not really embarrassing. It was a mistake in a wardrobe malfunction. Let's call it that. So it's one of those things, folks. It wasn't like a Justin Timberlake thing, though. And Power 96, that was the remix. Yeah, we're trying to get the regular mix going on there. But speaking of Justin Timberlake, did you see the news? I mean, not that, that's their business, right? But Britney Spears wrote her book. Her book is out. We've been talking about Jada Pinkett Smith's book. And Britney Spears wrote her book and revealed that she was pregnant with Justin Timberlake's baby, which Justin did not want. She indicated she wanted the baby, but Justin did not, so they agreed on an abortion. Britney Spears, you talk about somebody who's been through the ringer, as Dr. Chavis said, to the Black press.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It is an absolute honor. And Dr. Chavis, it's an honor meeting you, sir. Your legend precedes you by far.
Well, thank you. I consider myself to be a Pan-Africanist in the Du Bois vein. And we certainly believe that the Trace Awards not only helps connect people throughout the diaspora and across the continent of Africa, but actually all people should be paying attention because the humanity of people of African descent is the humanity of all people.
All of us.
And music is a universal language, and our music, our videos, you know, I'm a strong advocate of hip hop and R&B. And so I look forward to, and also Kwaito in South Africa. So, you know, we're looking forward to hearing from you and seeing how we can help support.
Absolutely.
And with that in mind, Samuel, tell us about the Trace Awards. We know this is the first. How did it come together? What is it all about?
For sure. Well, so I'll step back even a little bit further than that. So Trace, and I noticed that you both said Trace South Africa. It's actually SA is just the equivalent of saying corporation in the US. So Trace SA actually stands for the overall company Trace. We are a network of over 30 TV channels with offices in 12 countries, with a big focus on the continent. You know, I live in Lagos, Nigeria, here right now, and you know, we have representatives in East Africa and Kenya, down in South Africa, across the rest of the continent, in Ivory Coast, Senegal, Cameroon, and then, as you pointed out, also in Europe. So we have a central office in Paris where our playout systems are, a lot of the tech background for the business, and in the UK as well as in the Caribbean, in Fort-de-France, Martinique. And we recently 2 years ago, opened an office in Brazil. So we have been in a very lucky position because over the years we've been central to kind of the development of not only the music business, but and you know, the amazing music I'm hoping that you all are hearing out there in the States now, but also the entire cultural movement around that. So we are, as you can imagine, with the geographic spread we have people on the ground in all these markets, and we touch on the fashion and the beauty, you know, the food industry, etc. So we are centralized and built around music, but it's been a way for us to really help lift and you know, help unleash the power of African creativity.
Yeah, it's certainly just not a music awards show. It's a festival. We know that you got a lot going on there, but some of the big names. Well, one jumps out at us for certain. Burna Boy. Tell us about Burna Boy being a part of this, and other artists who might, you know, people in America may know.
Yeah, for sure. Well, so there'll be several artists that people in the States would know. Obviously, the big ones being the Nigerians. And even though I'm a Nigerian, we don't like to overshadow the rest of the continent. And so we do have David O coming out here for the awards. In fact, I might have the honor of traveling with him. We have Burna Boy, as you said, a young gentleman by the name of Ashake, who's taken by storm in the last year or so, and has become one of the, you know, kind of blowout Nigerian stars. Tiwa Savage will be out there, and from East Africa, an artist named Diamond Platnumz. Wow. So these are some of the biggest stars on the continent, and you know, we've grown up with them, right? I first met Burna Boy back in 2007, 2008. Actually happened. My wife and his mom have known each other for, you know, 30 years, and you know, had known each other. So we've been lucky to be part of that journey with them. And in fact, So I operate in two roles for Trace. Of course, I manage, the West African business. But as you pointed out, I head up what we call our global business development. And part of that, honestly, is exactly what I'm so honored to be here about today, because although we are very, we're across the continent, we have not built enough of a link with our brothers in the US, right? With you all. And so to have that chance to start to build that, and that's been a core thing for me, right? You can hear in my voice, I got an American background. My mom's American, right? And, so for us, for me specifically, starting to really engage with musicians, with creatives, with people in the media and entertainment space and we can start to have more and more of that bridge back to the continent from home and build that channel together is really where I'm at.
Well,
So
when you talk, I'm sorry, Simon, when you talk about building coalitions and you talk about Africa, the continent, and you talk about the U.S., there's no better person than the other gentleman on the screen with us today. The privilege of having the
100%.
president and CEO, Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis, Jr. Dr. Chavis, I know you can speak a lot to that.
Yes, and I want to salute our dear brother for this initiative. I think to have this kind of networking takes a lot of time and effort, and we appreciate his perseverance. Because I know you have to overcome historical as well as contemporary obstacles. But the truth of the matter is, and I'm so pleased to hear you report, that the responsiveness of people of African descent, people across the continent throughout the diaspora, has been very good.
Absolutely.
And I think that we want to do what we can. We represent the Black press of America and in the Caribbean, and to some extent also in Canada. But we want to work with you not only to make the award show seen and heard all over the world, but what else can we do between? One of the things I'm going to ask you, is this going to be an annual event during this time every year, or is it something that we can also work on between the annual events?
So absolutely, this for us is really just a pinnacle, if I could say it like that, of the work. And one of the reasons we're kicking off so first of all, let me answer your question. Yes, this will be an annual event. This is our first time doing an event, this scale as the Trace Awards. So we're unsure whether it'll be at the same time this year, next year. But it is an absolute annual event for us. It also happened to coincide with our 20th anniversary. And for me, what really was important is exactly what we've just all touched on. We're so excited for Burna and Wiz and David and Diamonds and the artists in the States who are engaging with them. Everybody from I'm thinking of even French Montana, who's from the continent and is back and forth, and so many other artists that are engaging with Thames and so on. And for us, we looked at this and we said, look, we're on our 20th anniversary this year, and what better way than to now bring together the industry and have an African built an African developed platform for that celebration. Look, we're thrilled. I'm literally thrilled about what the young artists are doing in terms of getting recognized in the Grammys and the VMAs and so on. But we wanted to equally have a platform that could do that, can do it the other way around. And that's why it's such a thrill and such an honor for, to be speaking with you, sir, and for you all to embrace the message that we're doing, because we're trying to celebrate the continent, at that magnitude. And we're one of the few on the continent that has that scale and that reach. I thankfully actually did spend a few years working for MTV out here and, know the terrain very well, know Viacom and know all the big, if I can say it, big, powerful American media giants. But we were like, look, we gotta build this stuff here on the ground. And this 20 years has culminated in us having that reach, having that credibility in the space.
So, Stacey, there's one other question I just want to ask. There's not a debate, but sometimes controversy about the role that technology, and we live in a digital age. Can you just speak from your experience and from your having this historic event, that the role that has technology helped level the playing field, has technology helped connect us? How do you see the digital age in terms of being utilized as technical tools to further unite people of African descent?
Yeah, no, 100%. You know, I think that the power of the technology, like you said, to amplify this event, to make those connections easier, to facilitate the collaboration and the bridge building is golden. And we've been lucky for that to happen at a time for us, for this all to be happening at a time for us when we're right positioned to do that. So it's funny because as you bring up that question, sir, I have to refer to when I literally open my mouth and say, oh, we have 30 TV channels. I always feel like, oh man, it's TV channels. Doesn't that sound old? Right. But what we do, how we think about it is we consider that our foundation, right? We have this foundation of this reach. I'm sure you're aware about, the challenges in access to data and challenges in access to internet connectivity for a lot of the continent. So that foundational TV channel platform still makes a lot of sense. We have over 80 million daily viewers across the continent, but we are layering on top of that, and we are transforming our business along with the rest of the continent to the rest of the continent, the rest of the creative industry to leverage on technology to reach out. We will actually be, so we've been, as you'd imagine, developing and working on that side for a while. About a year and a half ago. Well, let me rewind even a bit further back. About 5 years ago, we said to ourselves as management at Trace, look, it's amazing that we have this audience that loves these artists. It's amazing that we are in this position right in the center of that. But our fans and our viewers need more than just great times. They need more than just just some great music to bang to and have a great weekend for. And we took that upon us to then transform our whole organization to having impact be a pillar. So we consider ourselves, what we say is we are a media and entertainment business with a mission to impact youth and women and creators across the continent.
Well, thank you. Thank you. That intersects with what we are doing. One is the NMPA this year. We launched our World News app, NMPA World News app. And I want to make sure that we get a constant feed on the information that you do, even between the annual awards, the Trace
Absolutely.
Award. That's number one. Then number two, Tracy can elaborate on it. Stacey can elaborate on it. We're coming out with a forthcoming book on the legacy of the transatlantic slave trade, particularly its economic consequences, its economic legacy, not only in the continent of Africa, but throughout the Pan-African world. So those two things, be on the lookout. Well, you can download the World News app now, NMPA World News app. And then, Stacey, we need to figure out how we can do periodic features about not only what happens at the Trace Awards, but what happens even after the awards.
After and in between.
Because the thing is, we want to create not only the dialogue, the amplification, but making those entrepreneurs. See, to me, dear brother, these connections have entrepreneur consequences, have entrepreneur opportunities, where we start building international and global businesses as a result of us reconnecting and working together across continents, across nations, across different languages, barriers. There are some things that we can do from an entrepreneur perspective to help build wealth and help build entrepreneur African-owned businesses.
Yeah, 100%. Well, sir, I don't want to forget to say this, but for the NMPA app, I actually had just downloaded it, so I'm already aware, and I'd be checking it out. But we would love if you would be okay with us promoting the app, right? We got a 350 million person network, primarily outside the States, Black and brown communities everywhere, and they need to know. And so that would be something that we pick up on. And I didn't quite answer before. You asked if it is an annual event, but yes, there's so much we can do in between. We actually engage in over 400 events a year. We engage with over 30,000 creatives in a year, from promoting their music videos, their businesses, etc. And I love what you said, sir, about the drive and the push that it gives to entrepreneurs. Black entrepreneurs everywhere on the continent. From the smallest guy who's just got a little cute business or whatever to the billion-dollar businesses that are waiting to blow.
Very good.
Sounds fascinating. Both Doc and Samo, looking forward to doing some more on the Trace Awards, not just the awards, as you guys said, what happens in the meantime and in the between time. But Sam, let's go back to the awards momentarily. There are, I understand, 22 awards up for grabs. What categories, Samo, are you particularly excited about, and why?
No, for sure. So actually, it's evolved a little bit. We've had to be dynamic. So we have 26 awards.
26.
I'm particularly, look, I'm going to come straight out and say it. We have a category. Look, let's put it like this. For an awards, we had all sorts of aspirations and ideas, but at the end of the day, one of the things that we always told our teams is, doing an awards in and of itself is controversial. You're going to have people be like, why is that person nominated? Who won that? Why? And we expected that, and we took it right from day one. But one of and so many of our categories are fairly straightforward. They're the best artist, they're the best performer, etc. But we do have one very unique category that I'm really in love with, and that's what we're calling a change maker. We have a change maker category that's going to recognize an artist or a celebrity who's used their power, money, and fame to make an impact on their community, right? Wow. And we hope that will not only honor somebody who's doing that, but also inspire others to do the same. If it's not really your thing, if you're an artist and you've got your own personal ways about you, great. But look, your fans are out there. They need you. so we want to see. I really am excited about the Changemaker category.
Well, that sounds like the NMPA Leadership Awards.
It is a bit like that, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's also, I know Dr. Chavis will be delighted to hear more about this, Samo. You guys, the trophies are very unique. For what I understand, they're designed by renowned Congolese sculptor Dora Prevost.
Absolutely.
Tell us about what they symbolize, those trophies, and why it's important that we note who the sculptor is.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. And, I was really lucky. It's been already, if we're in October, it's got to have been since probably about October last year when we first engaged with Dora. And it was, luckily Olivier, our group CEO and founder, already knew Dora and had a relationship. But, once I'd spoken to her, it was clear that she was the one to do it, because she understood, right from the jump, the unique position we were in to really celebrate this. So the awards itself, calls into context ideas of our identity as a people, and I don't consider identity stolen like us. I consider us rediscovering our identity and re-embracing that identities. That's number one. And it also, speaks to the roots and the connections, that we're all speaking of here. So it's a powerful image. It's a powerful, piece of art. Dora's an amazing woman. And, I think it's really going to speak to what we want to do here.
And Samo, Dr. Chavis took me and a group to Malawi in 2019, and about 6 months prior to that, he took a contingent to Lagos, Nigeria.
For real?
And Nigeria appears to have a strong presence in several award categories. What does this say about the current state of the music industry in Nigeria and its influence on the global stage?
Yeah, it speaks volumes. I've been talking about this, recently a lot, and how I really see it is that, Nigeria is in kind of a basin of the region that we're in, right? Is such a powerful, geographic location, and has been as one of many in Africa, right? And the fact that a good, we don't know the exact percentage, but a good 60 to 70% of the transatlantic slave trade concentrated along the coastal region that we're in, not only Nigeria, but at that time we had our own borders. So let's not get into geopolitics, but what we call Nigeria, Ghana, up and down the coast. So to me, the fact that our voices from Nigeria are first being heard and resonating as they are with our brothers and sisters everywhere is just a beautiful, closing of the circle, right? Or beginning of a new circle for us, and we also we're Nigerians. We're a bit loud. We're a bit proud, and we love to spread joy. And we think that it's just an honorable position to be in, for people to even open their eyes and ears further to learn about music and creativity from other parts of the continent. The South Africans that are coming, we have a young lady by the name of Uncle Waffles, who's just an incredible Amapiano DJ and is really capturing some vibes. Ty C is an artist. He's based in France, but he's an African from the Congo. He's amazing. We have some kids from the like you said, from the Caribbean, from the rest of Europe. I'm just looking forward to next year when we can be bigger and stronger, be working with y'all, and make sure we really tap into the U.S. as well.
Wow. Well, Dr. Chambers, I'm gonna throw it over to you before we close out. And as a matter of fact, let me ask this, and then I'll throw it to you, Doc. Samuel, as we approach the Trace Awards and Festival, give us a message. Do you hope that you're hoping will be conveyed to both, not the artists, but to the global audience who will be part of this historic celebration?
Yeah. No, I love that. I think the very simple message is that young African creators and Africans everywhere in the world have something special to bring to the world. And it's it's a beautiful time that our ears and eyes are opening, but it's not a one-way message. This is truly for us is a way to open up the continent, is a way to build bridges, is a way to connect people, and all in the spirit of prosperity and peace and love.
Great. Dr. Chambers, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. I just want to call out the name Patrice Lumumba.
Oh, yeah.
Kwame, Nkrumah.
Yep.
Nelson Mandela.
100.
Eduardo dos Santos in Angola.
Yes.
And many of W.B. Du Bois, many of the freedom fighters.
Yeah.
I think all would stand and salute the Trace Awards. If you say it's been a long time coming, congratulations. Whenever I turn on Netflix, the first thing I look for is Nollywood. The movies from Nigeria.
Yeah.
I was at the Cannes Film Festival a couple of years ago, and I was so pleased to see so many African filmmakers, mainly from Nigeria, who were not only winning awards but getting global recognition. So the future, the United Nations declared that 2024, actually starting 2014 to 2024, is the decade of the people of African descent. Yeah. And so I'm so glad that we can mark the Trace Awards as a milestone during this decade. And then lastly, you may find this interesting. I know we're going to later broadcast this live on our television shows and digital media shows. But we are taping this on October the 16th, 2023, which is the 28th anniversary of the Million Man March.
There you go.
I was the national director of the Million Man March.
Oh, no.
So I want to end with this. Long live the spirit of the Million Man March. Long live the spirit of the Trace Awards.
Oh, my brother. Thank you so much, sir. That is just wonderful. I appreciate that.
Well, it's good to have Dr. Chambers back on Let It Be Known again. His time tireless schedule. We finally found a way of getting him in. All thanks to you,
Woo!
Samuel, for getting Dr. Davis in here. Samuel is an African and global media, entertainment, and music expert. He's an entrepreneur, just to cut it all short. And
Yeah.
he's got the Trace Awards coming up. Well, there you have it. On the 21st, it's just a couple of days from now, the Trace Awards. First annual. Can you say first annual or just inaugural? Because, well, he did say it was going to be every year. So we will see who wins the Trace Awards and see if the Trace Awards takes off as something that we will remember. So many award shows, but it's good to see one from Africa, right? So we'll be tuning in and checking it out. We will bring you some news on the speaker, I'm sure, or at least an attempt at getting a speaker today. I don't know why Bobby wrote the name Desmond Tutu. Stephen Biko, he also writes. But anyway, we will, of course, tomorrow have more on what happened today in the House. You can tune in. It's 11 o'clock today is when Capitol Hill, when the Congress is scheduled to reconvene and take another vote. I wonder if they will actually bring a floor vote today, knowing that, at least apparently knowing that Jim Jordan does not have enough votes. Why go through that exercise again? But that's the state of the House right now. And President Biden is in Israel right now. So much is going on in this world right now. And we will leave you with all of that and see you tomorrow.